Welcome to Real Talk episode 40. I'm Brian Rose and we're here at London Real Studios, and for the next 30 minutes we're answering your questions live, and I'm here with my good friend Ru Wikmann, founder of the Shredded Brainiac podcast, Muay Thai fighter, aspiring actor, also known as the Sculptor because he's a mad, crazy looking fitness model as well. Ru, welcome.
So nice to be here, Brian. Thanks for inviting me.
Dude, it's great to have you here. You were in that chair probably a year ago, maybe even 14 months ago, right?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while.
It's been a while. But you were one of the founding 100 members of the Academy.
Yeah.
And back in the day, we used to have the super focus groups in here. Actually, they were in the war room. It was like a bunch of sweaty people in the war room. And we didn't even know what a super focus group was.
Yeah.
And then like people would come and we started talking, and then they kind of evolved into these like big shows. And you were next to me at the last one, leading the whole group in the Wim Hof breathing. So it's kind of evolved quite a bit, right?
It's been awesome. It's been great to be part of it and just see the whole evolution of London Real from so many years ago.
Yeah. How did you first hear about us or find out about us?
It was definitely YouTube. I don't quite remember which one it was. It might have been Tim Ferriss. It might have been Rupert Sheldrake, but something just pops up. It was a kind of catchy name, just seemed really interesting. I thought, okay, let's see. And yeah, just some awesome conversation and just something that I've never seen anywhere else. The kind of people that, you expose us to. Because, we don't hear about them on the mainstream media. So it's great. And what the first thing I think that really London Real changed in my life and how it helped me was actually when you was talking about ayahuasca. And it was something I haven't heard about at all. I had no idea what the hell is that. I was trying to figure out the spelling, Googling it, and then doing my little research. Then I watched a few documentaries there. I saw like Joe Rogan and like Tim Ferriss and other guys talking about it as well. And I was like, wow, okay, that's very interesting. I did my research for quite a while and just, just thinking, okay, one day, opportunity arises, I might give it a try. And then I did, about 6 months later. Yeah, and it's one of the most amazing experiences in my life, that's
Really?
for sure.
Wow. Well, it's funny. For me, it took me 18 months. And I first heard about it on Joe Rogan. Aubrey Marcus talked about it, who's now the CEO of Onit, which is the supplement company he started with Joe, who's done really well. And I hadn't heard of it before. And then I went and did the research too. It took me 18 months. And then finally we did it, thanks to London Real. If it wasn't for London Real, I don't know if I would have done it, because we talked about it on the show and then I kind of had to do it. But sometimes you need a bit of a nudge. Sometimes you need a push.
Definitely.
I think to get out, to do it, because it's a scary thing to do, and most people are scared of it, and they should be, because it's going to shake you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, people are scared of what they don't understand.
Yeah.
But then once you get to realize what it really is and what it does, then you see the value in it. And still, it's not for everyone. Just like people die from peanuts or from shellfish and are allergic to things. So but it can help a lot of people, and that's why it's important to talk about it and have it as a viable option.
Yeah, I think with like ayahuasca and other things like that, it's like when you take the ayahuasca, you have a pretty traumatic time for 2 or 3 hours. You've been told some truths you don't want to hear. You have to process them and try to deal with things you probably don't want to hear about yourself and maybe some of your shortcomings in your life. But you can use that knowledge then to make your life better. Now, if you don't go through that experience, you will pay for it. You'll just pay over time, and you'll realize 3 or 5 years later that you've been going on the wrong path, you've been treating people the wrong way, and you're going to find out later in terms of a breakup or lost opportunities or just low self-esteem or depression, whereas that ayahuasca can sometimes just straighten you out and say, hey, we really got to go on a different road here.
Yeah.
So, it can help, but I didn't know that's kind of what attracted you.
Definitely, yeah. That's what set it, like my whole spiritual journey the last couple of years, really, I'd say, because before that, if somebody even mentions the word spiritual, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, what is that? It's just, it didn't mean anything to me. And also like religiously and stuff like that, I went through phases. I went through a phase of, I was raised as a Catholic, actually. And then it wasn't like being at the church every single Sunday or anything like that, but I was taught how to pray, and I was told I need to pray every single night, and so on and so on. And I was, I believed in it, and I was raised up that way. But then, like in my teenage years, a few things happened to me, like a bone condition. I went through quite a lot of hardship physically,
Right.
going through, being in hospitals for a few summers and stuff like that. And
Bone condition, right?
bone condition, yeah, in my left humerus,
Oh,
there was a
yeah.
cyst, and then they cut it out. I broke it again, long story. But yeah, it messed me up. I couldn't do a single push-up, single pull-up until I was 17. And because of that, probably, because of all that shit I was dealing with, somehow it just broke my faith, and so I became an atheist. And I was like that for a few years, for a good few years, until my early 20s, when I started reconsidering it a little bit. But still, I would consider myself agnostic back then. It's like that. Whereas now, I just consider myself completely spiritual and believe in God, just without the need of religion.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
A lot of people run away from religion. A lot of people don't like that organized thing. It's gotten some bad press. They feel like, I think it's being forced on them. It's not real. It's kind of made up of mythology. It's weird though, because a lot of the same things they do, build a community, build a tribe, build people that are like you, engage in strange rituals, is what we do at London Real. So it's kind of weird, because we have our own little culture and cult that's not probably unlike some religion where you all believe in the similar kinds of things. And so, but a lot of people are attracted to it because I think, religion does turn a lot of people away. For right or wrong reasons, But that whole concept of being spiritual, I always think man is by definition spiritual, whatever you want to call it. He's got a brain, and he's got a heart and a body, and they all tell him to do different things.
Yes.
And at some point, you have to, try to explain those three things and deal with the conflicts that they bring you on. And at some point, if you live long enough, you have to start thinking about different attitudes, and if you live long enough like me, where I'm in my 40s now, and now I've got a son, and you're now living long enough, and you're like, oh, I'm starting now to barely understand what my parents were dealing with. And it's now I'm a little wiser, and now I see things in younger people, and I'm like, they're 18 or they're 20, and they're supposed to be headstrong, they're supposed to be a little crazy, they're supposed to be stupid. And now you can see things in yourself and in them as you get a bit older, and but I think everybody's spiritual. Yeah. But a lot of tough guys are taught that you can't be. But I think that's changing a lot. Yeah. I think people see other people doing it. So
definitely, people start to realize for what it is.
Yeah. Now, what made you join this originally? Because I remember you sat in that chair and you had this great line, "The entrepreneur's journey is a lonely one." Yeah. And it was amazing, because it said so much about what we do on the Academy. But what attracted you to jump in when there was really nothing to the Academy, and you kind of were trusting us to build something that was worth being a part of?
Yeah, I reckon it was just meeting people who are into the same kind of things, because when you start to research these things and all these ideas and various things that people find strange or that they just don't know about, you just feel a bit weird, right? How come I'm interested in all of that? It's just really fascinating to me. And it's just nice to meet people that are actually on the same page in that sense. So that was really find the others, as you say. Right?
Yeah. And so, what was it like that first focus group you came to? Do you remember what it was like? And did the others look the way you thought they would look? Did they behave the way you thought they'd behave?
I guess it was pretty much what I expected, everyone is just, just individual, as we're all very different, and it's just great to see when people come, they stood up and told about their story and what is it that they do and so on, and each one of them is going through something and striving somewhere, but it's kind of what really brings us all together, I guess, is that striving for self-improvement, that inherent need to elevate yourself, to rise up.
Yeah, that's like a theme, because every guest that comes in, I guess we're looking to them to give us some knowledge. Yeah. And most of them are self-made, right? And they got there through pushing themselves and trying new things, and sometimes going through hard experiences to get where they are, right?
Yeah, and a lot of guys as well, I think that's part of the academy, they still, they probably wouldn't consider themselves self-made. I don't consider myself that way. I'm just in my journey right now. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can right now, because I know that I wasted so many years without being exposed to these things and not considering it, and I feel like it just makes me a more complete human.
Yeah. You mentioned like we're bringing you curating guests you wouldn't normally see. And like you mentioned Rupert Sheldrake and like some of the early ones where, who are these people? Even Dorian Yates, and we just spent 4 days with him down in Spain, and that was crazy. But at the time, he wasn't talking to anybody in the media, and nobody in the media was talking to him. And all of a sudden we bring him on and people are blown away. He's blown away by the fact that there are people that are spiritual. People see Mr. Olympia, and at his competition weight, he was 269 pounds of lean muscle, like at competition. So you're like, Jesus, this guy was huge. And people associate that with probably, I don't know why, lack of spirituality. And so when he talks, it's a beautiful thing because it really shatters the concept of a lot of quote-unquote tough guys, because here is apparently to many people the most a typical alpha male on the planet, right? Who's now talking about all these things you would expect from someone else. So he really shattered a lot of stereotypes about that. But then what's really funny to me is that we've now continued on our journey. Then recently we spoke to like one of the most well-known pop stars in Britain, Will Young, right? And so we spoke to Will Young. And yet, we didn't talk to him like any other television channel would. We sat him down and gave him the London Real treatment, right? Which is 90 minutes, and we go deep and we go dark, and he starts talking about the trauma that he had. He said that at one point he's looking in the mirror and he can't even see himself anymore because his vision's gone blurry, and like all these things happened to him. And it's really weird because that same interview has now been like picked up, and like the BBC's been writing about it, and the Evening Standard, and now it's on primetime television tonight. But they're not going to get the Will Young interview that they expect, because television has a way of doing things. They're going to get the 2-part version that we did. And so you'll see Will, and he's talking like really openly about these like horrible things, and he's saying sometimes I don't like getting up in front of an audience and singing, and sometimes I suck. And the audience knows it. And he's like giving real talk. And so, I don't know, like you said, we started off one way, but I feel like we're almost infecting the mainstream media a little bit with this kind of open conversation stuff,
Yeah, a great phrase that I've heard recently from somebody I interviewed in my podcast actually, is the world is starving for truth. And I think that's kind of what we're doing with broadcasting these kind of things, exposing these people to be able to tell their stories. And it's just, it's just raw, real, and authentic.
Yeah, with the internet, so that means like online video, real-time broadcasting via microblogging or whatever. Like, the internet craves real and can smell anything not real a mile away. So like, you said, like, and if it's not genuine, like people are just like, they run from it. So you know what I'm talking about. And let's talk about the Shredded Brainiac podcast, because I'm a huge fan of you. I've been from the beginning. Like a year ago, I remember commenting on your YouTube videos, like, this is awesome, Ru, and all that stuff. And you probably saw that, right?
Yeah, I did.
I've been a big fan of Shredded Brainiac. Can you tell me like a little bit about the genesis of it, how you do it, all that stuff? Because you have 30 minutes, sometimes even longer, 40 minute
It's about 45, 45.
You started off 30 minute, right?
I started like just below 40, 35, 40, something like that now, just a little bit more.
Okay.
But I don't want to stretch it out to too long for now anyway.
Yeah, I think that's smart. But you have a great style. I love your setup. You have the 180 degrees, so you're both looking at the camera, which I quite like. You got the banner behind you. You always had high quality audio, high quality video, high quality logos. I mean, I don't know. I've always impressed. Tell us about it. How did it start, and what did it become? What have you learned?
How did it start? It started kind of when the whole idea, the whole phrase came to me, because I'm always just, been trying to find my identity in some way, I guess. And because, the typical kind of fitness guy is not necessarily interested in all these things and spirituality and, and all that stuff. And I just always felt like I needed to find a way to stop all this nonsense mind-body dichotomy and just you know, just be real, just be holistic, just talk about the things that people don't talk about, especially with athletes, coaches, anybody from a fitness background, because we get judged all the time by the way we look. Right.
I mean, everyone does, or fitness people?
I think, well, everyone, surely, and fitness people in particularly, because they look a certain way.
Yeah. And so, let's tell everybody, I mean, you've been on the stage with 50 other guys who are all ripped and shredded, and they've been working their hardest, and like, you're looking pretty good yourself.
Yeah, I did pretty well, I guess. Well, I got my pro card. I managed to win a show in Miami a couple of years ago. I was chasing that for quite some time, so it was like a big goal that I set for myself, and it took me 4 times to actually go and get it. And at the time, I felt like that was just really important to me. Just wanted to complete that mission. But then kind of once I actually got it, once I managed to turn pro, I felt like, I don't know, just something was missing, something wasn't right. And it was just around that time as well, when just after that, when I actually did ayahuasca for the first time.
Okay.
And the first time didn't teach me perhaps that much. It was more just really, just an amazing journey, just really opening, right, connecting the mind and the heart, right. But then the second journey, that was a bit tougher, second time I did it, and then kind of around that time I realized that, you know what, it's not really me. I don't want to go that route and be purely the fitness guy, the model, or all that stuff, all that superficial stuff. And it's, you know, it seems superficial. It's not always the case, but usually it is, to be honest, right? So yeah, that's when I realized that now I just want to look at things from a different aspect and potentially speak to people and showcase people on my show that have this other dimension to them, right? That may look a certain way or whatever, but you know, there's much more to it, much more than meets the eye. Right?
Yeah, and the fact that you created the show means that you've always thought about that, right?
Yeah.
And what do you say in the beginning? You're like, this is Radio Brainiac, and what's your tagline in the beginning? You say,
mind your body, know your mind.
Yeah, and then you say, we do something when...
finding balance between fitness and the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole theme of the show. And, you know, I'm kind of in two minds about it sometimes, because there's no such thing as the perfect balance anyway. But we always, at least we strive to keep it more or less in balance, and we have to overstretch one way or the other way, right? But the problem with fitness is so often that most people just, you know, the masses, they seem to always neglect fitness and health first, as that's the one thing that goes out the window. As soon as there's, you know, stress at work and relationships and they just put that aside, put that on hold.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve them in any way at all.
Yeah, I mean, as Elliot Hull said, you know, the body is the mind. And the first time he said that, I was just like, whatever. And then the more I think about it, the more I think about it, and then the more I think about it. And it's, you know, for me, most people might not believe me, but for the big portion of my life, my body was there just to carry my brain around and make sure it got the coolest experiences, you know. And so whether that was, you know, drinking at the fraternity house or going to Wall Street or partying or learning at MIT, my body never entered the picture as far as something important. And it's only later that I realized it's more than half the equation. You know, it's such an important part to use it to for many reasons, to keep it healthy and just use it because there's so many things going on with the body that teaches the mind things, not like the other way around. But like you said, most people, they look at the gym as something they have to do, so maybe they look okay or they don't feel lousy, but they don't think of it as a part of even existing, just so you can use the body. And we've had people in here like Elliot Hulse and Ido Portal, and people where, you know, you could argue their body is more important than their brain, you know. So yeah, it's important, and it's important you're talking about it.
Yeah.
And again, we all go extremes. Like I've gone the extreme, maybe as you have, maybe where the body got to me more important, and it was like, I'm gonna lift, I'm gonna get strong, I'm gonna get big, I'm gonna box until my arm breaks, I'm gonna train jiu-jitsu until my nose breaks, and like I did all that stuff, and that's great too. But now I'm coming back the other way. And I just spent the weekend with Dorian Yates, and it's really interesting because he doesn't lift anymore. And actually, at one point in the interview, I haven't told anybody this, I was like going through my notes, and I looked at Dorian, and I'm like, am I going to actually say this? And I was like, so Dorian, do you even lift? And I was just like, is he going to kill me? But he kind of cracked a smile, and he was just like, I don't. He's like, I haven't lifted all year. I do yoga, I ride the bike, I swing kettlebells. But he's like, a lot of Mr. Olympias are holding on to their identity as Mr. Olympia. And look, you've been in the fitness business, and you know what it's like, because you can become really associated with this identity of this perfect body, you know. And a lot of the fitness guys look better than the bodybuilding guys. So in a weird way, it's a more perfect body, you know, and definitely more attractive to women and that kind of thing. So for Dorian, he's like, I go to these Mr. Olympia contests, and these guys are hanging on to the dream, and they're still juicing at 50 years old, and they're trying to be big. And he's just like, for Dorian, he never took his shirt off until competition. In the gym, he never took his clothes off, and he wouldn't even look in the mirror that much. So for him, it was always a tool to get him somewhere. And he's like, why would I lift now? Because it doesn't serve my purpose. Yeah. So it's interesting to see him. And like for me, I don't lift that much anymore either. Now I'm breakdancing or rolling jiu-jitsu. I'm not just trying to move a piece of steel up and down anymore. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I've moved on. You know?
Me too, in a major way, because I just don't find it so interesting anymore, just the purely aesthetic aspect of it. It's good, it's still important to do something and to be functional, right? But martial arts definitely is one thing that interests me much more lately, and you introduced me as a Muay Thai fighter, which I don't quite know if I can call myself that way yet. I've never actually had a fight, but I've been sparring quite consistently and really enjoying it.
Good.
Apart from the last couple of weeks, my nose actually shifted a little bit one way.
Broken or not?
That was
Is
scary.
it that way?
It just, the cartilage just went a little
okay.
bit this way after a good head kick. Completely missed, and yeah, but I managed to get it back in place.
Okay.
But that just kind of tells me, man, I need to like get a proper head guard or something to protect me, because if I have these acting aspirations and all that stuff as well, then I would only get typecast for the bad boy roles.
Yeah,
but
you
I don't necessarily want to go that route. I'd love to do some of those as well, but I want to remain versatile.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're going on the acting career.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience with kind of the new Academy members this year, because we just had a couple hundred come through about 2 months ago. We're actually closing out our Academy tonight, so we got another few hundred coming through. But it's like new blood, and you're probably seeing like our super focus groups are now like 100, 120 people. Like people are coming through, they're doing these Create and Connect programs and these body and mind challenges, and there's more structure to it. What does it feel like to you being an old guard and like coming to like that last super focus group where you guys got like guys like Jabal and Chen, who was here last night, or 2 nights ago, sorry. What's it like seeing that new blood and feeling that kind of new direction?
It's amazing. It's just great being there every time, because there's so many people that I know already, whether they're part of the London Real team or they're members as well from a year ago and so. And then a lot of the new guys as well that perhaps maybe I've seen some of them on a Facebook group, or we had some interaction, some conversation. And it's so interesting to actually meet people in live. And then it's just, that's the one thing that's probably most important to me about the Academy, to be able to connect in life, right? Because already it's way too much of what I do is all online and computer-based stuff, and I guess that's why I love acting so much as well, because it's real, it's right there, it's in the moment, you know. So it's great to connect with people, and especially ones that you know, they are on the same page in many ways.
Yeah, how would you describe that focus group last time when we were doing the Wim Hof breathing? It's like you, me, and Chen on stage. We were getting this whole theater doing that breathing after we had done the Elliot Holt's dynamic meditation, after some people from their audiences stood up and opened up about like big stuff. It happens every time too, doesn't it? It's like a bunch of strangers in a room, no one knows. A bunch of them were thinking, I should have stayed at home and watched Netflix, right? And then they get in there, a few people start talking, we do the active meditation, and then everybody comes out and tells their like real talk story, like tear-jerking stories, you know? Well, yeah, what's that like?
It's euphoric, really, because like everybody is just, you know, just letting go and just completely being in the moment. And yeah, Wim Hof breathing technique is one thing that I've been dabbling with myself as well lately on a regular basis. Just really enjoying that, and you know, it's great that you bring in these tools for people to consider and to try for themselves, and to kind of like the dynamic meditation, to do it in a safe environment where everybody else does it, so you're forced to join in as well, and you know, you can kick, scream and shout and, you know, just let go completely. Whereas if you're trying to do it at home, somebody's probably going to call the police.
Yeah. Or in the park, as it happened to
Yeah.
me. Someone called the police. But yeah, no, it's true. And it's weird how we just picked up all these little things. I'm looking at the guests on the walls here. We've picked up some of their traits, you know, and we've now introduced them kind of en masse. Right? So like little did Elliot Helst know, you know, we didn't even talk about dynamic meditation too much when he was here. And I wasn't doing it yet, but he had such an impact on me that I was like, man, I got to look into this. And same with Wim Hof. Like, we didn't do the breathing during the show. I think I asked him to, and he was just like, ah. So we moved on. And then after, once I met him, then I took it up. And same with a lot of these things. And now we do it at our events. And now we're putting them each into like this weekly body and mind challenge. So we're getting like 1,000 people to jump in and try them. And yeah, I think they're becoming really powerful.
That's the thing, is just to get people to try stuff, because you know, you can't do it all, but you can try it all, or at least the really important things, and then just, you know, whatever suits you, whatever suits, that is what you do, your personality and everything else, your lifestyle, fit that in, make some new good habits.
It's hard to get people to make new habits, right? I mean, you train people, you do personal training with people, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I bet frustration is probably the biggest problem you have with that, because it's not even the money. People pay you the money probably, but you're like, just do something, right? Like, stop giving me excuses and do the damn things and watch your diet. That must be hard to get people to change.
Yeah, well, it's not too bad usually. Like in most, like 90% of the time, it's actually not a problem, because I've done it so many times. I've worked with so many various type of people, and I know how to relate to them and how to get to do what I want them to do, what I know they need. But then with experience, you start to also see patterns and start to realize when you need to slow down, when you need to push up the speed a bit. Because with some people, they're ready, they're eager, you know, they will sacrifice whatever's necessary and dedicate a big part of their life to fitness. Whereas some others, you know, they really struggle to juggle all these things, and then you just gotta give them just a couple of things here, a couple of things there, some new changes. What will make the biggest impact, you know, the vital few versus the trivial many, you know, the 80-20 thing. What is the 20% of all of this that we need to do that will make the biggest impact? That's what we focus on first.
Nice. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
So we're learning, and I think we found this system now where we can get people to kind of put videos in and be inspired by the guests that they love, and then just try something for like 7 days and see what happens. So you left the academy and you came back.
Yeah.
Why'd you come back?
I came back as well. I missed the actual events, just meeting people like that, and the actual shows as well. I'm just always, I try to, I'm a little bit behind now, but I always try to watch all the episodes as well. And then, you know, I want access to the whole thing. I want access to the success secrets, and, you know, just really to try to get as much as I can from your guests every time. And yeah, being part of that community, that's a big part of it as well. But yeah, just, you know, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it keeps me accountable in some way as well to constant evolution, to constantly trying to better myself.
I like seeing your videos, man. You're good about the Facebook group too, right? Like, you get on these rolls where you're like, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, what's up, you know?
Yeah, I need to get a little bit more consistent with that, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
What's your biggest challenge now, you personally, and like your goal for, like, you know, 2017? And how can we help you get there and keep you accountable?
My biggest challenge, I guess, is with dealing with various pursuits, various parts of my career, which they're all important to me, but there's certain things that maybe I've done for many years and they're still putting the bread and the bacon on the table, right? But there are other things that I just have a huge calling for, and that I have to invest a lot of time to get better at, to bring that up to a level. So it's juggling all these things. I guess that's that's what I'm struggling with most. But and there, perhaps I don't even know if anybody can really help me with that apart from myself. Just really being a bit of a time Nazi and making sure I plan everything and making commitments and setting goals and giving yourself audit, right? So having systems. And because I am kind of more creative person, I guess, and I'm just naturally more spontaneous. So I'm kind of too spontaneous for my own good sometimes. I get excited by new things quickly and too quickly to say yes. But then I don't remember where I heard it, but it's a great phrase that says each yes needs to be protected by 1,000 no's. Things like that. So that's my main issue, and I guess how the academy can help is just the Facebook group and actually connecting to people and perhaps having an accountability buddy that we can just really keep in touch all the time, because we all need somebody to push us, to give us a little nudge and to check, have you done it? You said you're gonna do it. What's happening?
Yeah. No, we all do, and I've had them through my career, including the old man up there from Scotland. He's pushed me in the past, and all we really do, I think you get the best results when you get pushed, and that's what the Academy is about. Business Accelerator as well. I mean, we're taking these people through 8 weeks, but a lot of them are accomplished entrepreneurs, but most of them just need someone to just be like, just do it, man. I need you to make these 10 videos and do it, because they have a bunch of excuses. And I do this, I have an inner circle group, we've talked about before, and again, accomplished entrepreneurs. But I'm like, look, I want an update every week, and then we have a live call every month, and it's just well, why didn't you do that? And we know as entrepreneurs, the year goes by fast.
So fast.
And if you don't get on with it, then you're an actor who's a year older. Has your acting improved? Well, there's a lot of other people that are working on their acting. I mean, you got to stay on top of things. So it's hard. And in a city like London, like you said, you can get distracted. And you're a guy that likes lots of things. I mean, you're a broadcaster, you love your Muay Thai, you're training, aspiring actor, then, you, like you said, stuff that puts the bread on the table as well.
Yeah.
Tell us something about acting that we might not know. I remember reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's book.
Total Recall.
Yeah, Total Recall, which was really good, by the way. And I listened to the whole thing. It was I don't know, 12 or 18 hours or something crazy. But he was saying when he went into acting that for the first time in his life, especially as a tough guy male or a male bodybuilder or whatever, he had to get sensitive and get in touch with his emotions, because you have to go in deep into those, because you have to really emote, whereas most people are taught, guys are taught not to do that. What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, that's probably the toughest aspect of it, really, just reaching that emotional openness that is necessary. Because the whole world, everything, once you get out of the street, everything is turning you the other way. It's making you to close up and to protect yourself and to, keep a poker face when needed. All these things, right? But as an actor, you just need to be completely open. And, and there's so many things that come into play, your childhood and where you was raised up and what you went through. And it's just fascinating to me. But it's a very interesting journey, and I'm definitely feeling the progress in regards to that. I've been very serious this year to really trying to master the craft, because it's quite new to me. I mean, my mom's an actress, my dad's an opera singer, so I guess there's some, inherited, perhaps, inclination towards that. Been on stage in my swimwear and stuff like that. Fair enough. I don't mind the spotlight, but then there's much more to it. So it's not been easy, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm training with the Actors Temple in London, and and seeing where is this gonna take me.
Where is this gonna take you? I mean, do you want to do a play, or do you want to get into doing commercials and things like that?
I've been doing commercials. That's the one thing I have a bit more experience with. But what I would like to do is to do some proper movies. Now the next step is to make some time to apply for some short films, get some roles, get some good footage, make sure it's quality stuff, you know, doing my research. And my mom's helping me a little bit. I delegated that to her because she's always been nudging me as well to kind of look in that direction.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, she's helping me out a little bit with research and all that stuff. And then yeah, once I get a few good roles like that, I get a show reel put together, and then I can approach the agents and just see if they like me, see where I fit in, and then take it from there. And you know, eventually Hollywood. I mean, it'd be great.
I love it. How old are you, man?
Do that. I just turned 32.
Perfect.
So, yeah, but luckily, like my mom and dad, they look at least 10 years younger than their age. So you know, it's about time. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it now. I gotta really focus on it. But yeah, but it's not too late. And with acting, I just feel that it is something that I wouldn't mind doing until the day I die. Nice. And you can. It's not something that, well, like in fitness, you know, coaching and stuff like that, you know, you kind of have to think about a way out, or being an athlete and things like that. You can't push yourself physically as much anymore. But with acting, you can always push yourself.
Yeah, go mentally, go deeper. That's awesome. I want to finish with some advice. What advice can you give? We got, like I said, a few hundred people joining the Academy today, yesterday. What advice can you give to them to like get the most out of it? Because some people join and like they don't get everything they can. I think a lot of people join and they're like, a lot of London Reelers are introverts, right? And so like they get in and they're like, I'm just gonna watch and look what's around. But you know, the ones that get the most out of it are the ones that really become like ambassadors, like you know, Jabal, Olive in New York, you know, MJ in Toronto. Like these are people, Tony Floreel, that just like came in and they're just like, let's charge, you know, or putting video content out like you do. What would you say, what should these people do to get the most out of it? Because there's a tremendous amount of resources in there if you grab it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's just about starting somewhere. So I think, you know, the Facebook group is a good start if you can't get to the focus groups. If you can, definitely come to the focus group, connect with people, exchange ideas, and then connect with people properly. You know, try to remember people's names and you know, find people that you really resonate with, and then build relationships from that. I think that's the most important thing. And then, you know, some of them may become really great accountability buddies, or they may be in the same industry, or there could be something that you can share and how to help each other. And I think that's the most important thing, just really connecting with people and just being completely open and coming as a giver as well. I think that's really important. So how can I help you, you know? Yeah.
I think that's the most to get, that's how you get the most out of life in general. If you just like come in giving, I always say like, if you want to find a mentor, like mentor someone. It's like strange, but like by putting that energy out there, you know, people notice you because you're doing these great things, you know, with other people. So yeah, I agree. Come in and give, you know, like Jabal, our man in Paris, he does like this weekly call now on Thursday nights. It's like 8 o'clock and they all get on, like nothing to do with me. And like they get on a Zoom call and they've set the structure up and they all get in there and they talk about their goals and they all get on. And I think because it happened because I do like these monthly mastermind calls, and afterwards I go and I'm like, you guys stay on and talk, and the first one lasted like 3 hours. So like I think people are finding ways to connect when they're not all in the same city really easily. And once you see some video on someone, that's why with the Body and Mind Challenge, just create and connect, everybody uploads these 1 or 2 minute videos. And when you watch someone on video for a minute, like I hate to say it, but you probably get what they're all about. Like, you know, you understand a vibe, you get the feel, you can see what are they talking about, what's their body language like. So it's a great way to start figuring out, like you said, who are the people you really want to connect with. Yeah. And you used to see it in the focus groups when you're here, because we'd have everybody stand up. You could see people were like, I'm going to talk to him later, and her later, and him later, because they're feeling like those vibes and stuff. Yeah. So good advice, man. Look, Ru, I love seeing you, man. You know, those early days, like, it was just great having your energy here, and it still is, man. Like, I always tell you that. You'll always laugh when I say that, but when I see you at a focus group, I'm like, this is going to be a great group, you know, because you got amazing energy, and you make me feel good. Everybody feels good around you, and it's just like, and you're there, like, all the time, man. It's like, there's Ru, and it always makes my day, man. So I just want to say thank you to you. You've always been a big part of this, and ever since that first testimonial, where we put you as a cover boy, even though you were in a tank top, you're like, Brian, I'm in a tank top. Yeah. But like, it didn't matter. And there's little things about you people don't even know. Like you struggled like with your shoulder and your bone for so long, and yet if to look at you on that fitness competition on the stage, you would never think that this is a guy that had to work 10 times harder than anybody else. So really character building stuff.
Yeah, but that's really an advantage for many of us. We go through the hardship, and that's what makes us stronger, and that's what actually makes us better.
Yeah. Use that as fire, right? Cool, man. Well, look, let us know what we can do in the academy. Welcome these new people coming in. They're now going to know who you are. So this is the guy, Ru. He's in London, acting, doing Muay Thai. If you're interested in any one of those things, or you can help as well, shower it into Ru. It's all going to come back to you 10x. And he's the old dog, so they'll be looking to you for the man. But thanks so much again. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it, Brian. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. Keep broadcasting too, man. Shredded Brainiac. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes. He's got great guests. He's gone through most of the London Reelers here in the studio. He's never invited me, but
because you don't do
right.
these things. But I guess yeah. I assume somehow that maybe I'm not ready to have you yet. But it's good that you mentioned it.
Yeah, get ready and then ask me. Deal?
Deal.
Okay, Ru. Thank you much, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
cool,
much,
man. All good, man. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
All right, that's Real Talk episode 40. We're back next week for 41. And we will see you on the other side.